Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to another session of Women Tech Makers and GDG Mysore. Ms. Usha Ringaraju is the chapter lead of GDG Mysore and also India's first Kaggle Grandmaster, who has a great role in conducting these events. You can follow her on Twitter at uringaraju for more updates. The combined and amazing efforts of our core team and social media team helps us put up these events. And they aren't just limited to GDG Mysore. They're also a part of Women in Machine Learning and Data Science Mysore and TensorFlow User Group Mysore. We have events lined up every week from these organizations. You can stay connected with us through these meetup links and get more updates on the events. Our community partner for today's event is ConfHub. ConfHub is a high-quality hosting services for events and conferences. They have well-known clients like Microsoft, Red Hat, and JetBrains. And all these links are put up in the description box, so please do check them out. And without further ado, let's get started with today's event. Our first speaker for today's event is Mr. Santosh Yadav, and he is designated as a full stack developer at Hmmh Consultants. And the topic for today's session is optimizing an Angular app. So Mr. Santosh is a GD for Angular and an active contributor to Angular and NGRX. He writes for Angular in depth and mentors at .NET Tricks and organizer of Pune Tech Meetup. He's the creator of ng deploy package for Netlify and part of Nest.js add-ons core team. Welcome, sir. So can you please unmute?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey everyone. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Hey everyone. So I'm Santosh, and I'll be talking about optimizing an Angular app. So in this session, I'll be talking more about the experiments which I did in my own application, which actually improved my bundle size because we were struggling with the bundle size from a long time, and then finally I did some experiments which were successful, and then we reduced the bundle size or the initial bundle size from around 8.4 MB to 3.6 MB, which was of course a really huge improvement which we earlier had, right? So in case you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Twitter, GitHub. You can also search on Santosh Yadav Dev on Google. You'll get all the links to my portfolio and as well as my other profiles. And you can also send me a connection request on LinkedIn. So if I think I'm not able to see my screen, it is not still added into Stream. Can you just add it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So let's go ahead and start the different strategies which I used. So the first, and before we start, right? So to optimize an app is a real struggle. So you may actually invest a lot of time into optimizing an existing app, and it takes a lot of time, lots of refactoring. And even in my case, it was not that easy. We had around 40 modules. So remember that 40 modules, around 150 components. And even to refactor the app, it was a huge risk, which of course we were ready to take because something can go wrong, right? I mean, 40 modules and 150 app, a huge enterprise application, but we had to take that chance, and we struggled a lot. Of course, we did that, but once you struggle, you know how to do things better, right? Next time. So let's see the first thing which we did. So of course, there are some low-hanging fruits, for example, lazy loading, which you can go ahead and implement in your application. So earlier we had a single module. So entire application was a single module, and there were chances that we can actually do lazy loading for few modules which are exposed via different routes, but it was not implemented from the start. So the first thing which we did is we actually removed from some of the modules and we implemented lazy loading for them. And what you get by using lazy loading, so you get separate feature bundles. So it's not like there will be a huge main.js bundle which will be served. So you can actually divide your entire application into smaller chunks. You can load bundles on demand. So it's not like, again, in this, if you don't have any lazy loaded modules, what you will do is you will you will load the entire app at one go, which is of course not a good strategy, right? But in lazy loading, you get different modules, different chunks, and you can load them on demand. So whenever user request for it, for example, if I have a link to contact us page on my website, I'm sure contact us will not be used frequently by my users. So what I can do is I can just say, okay, this module is something which is lazy loaded, and when user requests for it, I will just go ahead and serve it. Otherwise, it won't be served. Remember, on web, even a KB matters. So even your bundle size is less than around 10 KB, it makes sense, because if it is not going to be used by 90% of the users, why to serve it, right? So you're actually saving 10 KB from your 10 KB, which will not be served to the end user. So and the next advantage is it will serve less code on first serve. For example, if I have my own portfolio, right? Santosh.dev, and if I for example, my entire application is of 2 MB, and if I serve entire 2 MB to you, of course, you're based on your internet connection, you will there will be some lag or delay, and user will just leave, right? They will not be interested anymore. So you can serve less code whenever user request for your website for the first time. You may actually just serve your home page with maybe some navigation and some small content which is available, and then whenever user requests for other modules or other routes, you can actually serve the bundles. So that's the advantage. But is there any other strategy which you can do? So for example, in the by default, if you go to lazy loading, it is on demand, right? So when you click on the link, the modules will be downloaded. So there are two popular approaches which you can use, and these are two different libraries which are actually available, and it is maintained by Minko Gechev, who is from the Angular core team, and it looks around the tooling. So the first one is NGX Quick Link, and what NGX Quick Link does is, for example, if I have some links available, of course, to download my lazy loaded modules, generally what we do is we actually go ahead and click on that particular link, and then our modules are downloaded. But if I am using NGX Quick Link as a preloading strategy, it will check. First, it will check that if the user is idle and I have sufficient bandwidth, I mean your user's machine has sufficient bandwidth to download the modules. So it won't be on demand. It will be like it's a preloading strategy. So it will try to download the bundles in case you have your user has sufficient bandwidth and he's not interacting with the website. If he's interacting with the website, of course, he's using some of the bandwidth, and we don't want to download that package at that moment, because otherwise it may hang your user's machine. So we don't want to do that. So NGX Quick Link automatically does it for you. You just have to install the package and you have to apply it as a preloading strategy. I've not written the code. Of course, NGX Quick Link has a really good README. You can just go ahead and read about it. It's just a single package which is available, and then you have to just provide this the NGX Quick Link as a preloading strategy to your configuration, your router configuration. Another way which we have is much better than NGX Quick Link, but there is one thing that it requires Google Analytics. So there is something known as guest parser which is available. So what guest parser does is really different. In Quick Link, what we are doing is we are waiting until a user is idle and he has sufficient bandwidth. But in guest parser, what we are doing is it relies on the data which is collected by the Google Analytics. So it checks if for example, there are 4 modules A, B, C, D. So it checks if module A is used frequently. If it is used frequently, it will go ahead and download the module A. It will not, and for example, B, C, D modules are not used frequently. It will just go ahead and avoid that. NGX Quick Link will download your modules anyways. I mean, depend upon your bandwidth and the user interaction, right? So the next thing which we did is, of course, we did lazy loading, but our bundle size was still actually huge. So I realized that there is something called shared module in my application. So we had very huge 2 shared modules. One was for material, and one was for my entire application, right? So we had a lot of components added into a shared module, and whenever we used to create a new component, we used to just blindly add it into a shared module. Then I realized, okay, those shared modules are actually responsible for improving my bundles, increasing my bundle size, because in not all modules are actually using everything from those shared modules, but they are actually adding some chunks to my final bundle size. So this is what I did first. So I wrote a blog post. I wrote my experiment first. That so what I did is I created a new app. So my app size was 382 MB. I added few modules to actually make it 382 MB. Otherwise, it was much smaller than that if you create a new application. Then I added a shared module, right? So I added a shared module, and this is how your shared module looks like. So you might have, in case you have written Angular code, you might be familiar with this code, because this code was actually available on the Angular material docs, and a lot of developers actually used to copy it from the docs and just paste it blindly on my in my code. Even though they are not using most of them, most of these modules, they will just copy it because it's available in the docs. So this was the same scenario in my application. So this is the final bundle which which we can see. Let me tell you what is what. So first image which we can see here is, which shows 639.6 KB, is actually application with all the modules. They are not lazy loaded as of now, and it also include my shared material module. Then what I did is I made my first change where I added the lazy loaded modules. So I said, okay, let's configure lazy loaded modules. So now suddenly my bundle size was increased to 700 KB. So I was shocked. I mean, why? Then I realized, okay, all the modules which I have in my application are now using shared module, shared material module, but they are not using most of it. So I decided to remove it, and then I configured whatever module is required in my application only in that module. So I removed the entire shared module concept, and then I ended up it on the 664 KB, which was my final bundle size. You can see my main bundle size, which was actually 472, came to 311 KB. So of course we are serving like 160 KB less on the initial load. So in my application, remember, there were 40 modules, so I ended up saving around more than a MB of bundle size by using this particular approach. Then I said, okay, now we are done with this shared module. I mean, we have removed all this shared module. Now still my bundle size is of course more than what we should have, and what the ideal bundle size should be. So I did another experiment. So I decided to check what's in my bundle size, what's inside my actually bundle. So I was wondering how to do that. So I came across one of the package which was actually introduced by Igor Minar, who is Angular team lead at ngconf. So he spoke about something known as Source Map Explorer. And Source Map Explorer gives you a nice overview of what's inside your bundle. So it will give you, in case you have components, it will give you size of that particular component, which was really useful for me because I had 150 components. So somehow I was sure that it has to do something with the component size. And then I installed this particular package. And in my personal project, what I did is I created an wrapper on top of the Source Map Explorer, which you can use, which is open source as well. So as you can add ng-add ngxbuilder/analyze, which is open source package available. And once you install it, you have to just go ahead and run a command. So let me show you this. You can run this particular command, ng-run. So ng-run, and then you have to say your project name : analyze. Analyze is the command which will be added once you do ng-add. And once you do this, once you run this particular command, you will see something like this. So let me just open the web page. So this is how it looks like. Let me just increase the font size because, of course, it won't be visible otherwise. Yeah. Just a second. Okay, so this is something which you will get once you run that particular command, and you can see it shows you the bundle size. So right now I'm looking at my main.js file, and it gives me that I have 192 KB of bundle size and 165 KB is actually coming from Angular. Then in case you have any more third-party libraries which is installed, it will give you size for that. So I figured out two things from this particular data, that whenever whenever I build my application, the each of the component, I'm talking about each component. So most of the component were actually of size 90 KB. So each component were of the size 90 KB, and I was shocked because of course 90 KB is huge for a single component. I realized there are some issues the way we are using SCSS. So I ended up writing another blog post. So it is reduce your bundle size through this component styling technique. And here I actually wrote the entire experiment which I did for my own application, and I ended up saving around more than 1.5 MB this time, because I was using the SCSS in incorrect way. Of course, that was an existing code which was written, and I realized there are multiple issues, like I was importing the SCSS variables even though I'm not using it in my component. So once I removed it, I figured out that I'm saving 20 KB per component. So those 90 KB per component size came below 60 KB. So of course, because my component had a huge logic written inside it, and then we were using custom themes. So from 90 KB to 60 KB each component, and then there were like more than 60 to 70 component where I did same experiment, and we saved around 1.5 MB in total size. But once you use Source Map Explorer or once you build your application, there is one more important thing. Always use budgets. Budgets are really important. So if you open a new Angular application, so if you create a new Angular application, you will see angular.json file, and in angular.json file you have something known as budgets. Okay, so by default you will see, okay, there is an initial budget size and there is any component style budget size which is already added to your application. I realized that in my application, actually, when I used to build the application, the component style was minimum 60 KB. So there were some components where it was around 45 to 50 KB, but there were some components where it was more than 60 KB, and few components where it was more than 100 KB. The reason was incorrect import. So I fixed those imports. You can actually read about that in the blog post, how I actually realized it and then how I fixed it. In this blog post, you can read about it as well. And there was no control on the how large my application can grow. This is where budgets come into the budgets help you, right? So if for example, if my entire application is of size 5 MB, so I can set a budget. So I can say, okay, if my application grows beyond 5 MB, just go ahead and throw an exception that, of course, it's an red flag that my application has grown big enough. So what I did is, once I was done with the optimization, I added some budgets. And whenever there is a sudden increase, but the importance of budgets is, in case there is any sudden increase in future while you are building your application, so you will come to know, okay, if there is 1 or 2 KB of increase, that's fine, right? I mean, we can actually say that, okay, that's possible, that is fine. But if there is a sudden increase, like let's say 500 MB or 600 KB, sorry, not 500 MB, but 500 KB or 600 KB, then we can actually look into that code first and then try to figure out why that increase happened, rather than actually just blindly going ahead and deploying your application and then realizing, okay, there is some problem, I think, and our application size has increased. So always set the budget, and there are multiple options which you can use while setting your budget. So first is bundle. So you can specify the bundle size of specific bundle. For example, if I want my main bundle should not be more than 200 KB, so I can just go ahead and say, okay, just to specify that, okay, this is the bundle size which should be available. Then you can also define the initial size of the app. For example, what is the initial size of app is this one. So right now my initial size of app is 230 KB because I have a main module, polyfills, and runtime. This is something which will be loaded once my application is served. So my application should not grow beyond 230 KB. So that's what you can actually set using this initial. All script is the size of all scripts. So if you remember, you can pass scripts array in your application, and this script is something which gets bundled in your final bundle, and it is served to the user, right, or served to your client. So you can also specify the size of all scripts should not go beyond all this, all or minimum above this particular range or threshold. And the best thing or the best strategy to use all. So you can specify the size of entire app. So you can just set that, okay, my entire app should not go beyond, maybe it's right now 230 KB. So I can say, okay, it should not go beyond 500 KB, for example. So if it goes beyond 500 KB, it means there is a red flag and I should go ahead and fix it. So similarly, there are a few more so you can also set any component style, which we just saw. By default, it is 6 KB and maximum is 10 KB, but of course it depends upon the application. We had custom theme implemented, and we had a lot of SCSS flying around. So we in our case, it was like I had to set minimum to 60 KB, but choose based on your configuration, right? You have to just first figure out, okay, how large your component style can be, and then you can set this particular value. You can set the any script size. So any script is where you are specifying for each script. So maybe if I have 10 scripts, I can specify that each script should not increase maybe more than 10 KB, and it will consider it while building. All these values are very important, because once you set those, your build will rely on all these values. And any is the size of any file. So any file should not be beyond, let's say, if I set it, let's say 100 KB. So any file should not be above 100 KB in my application. Once I realized, okay, this is using the source map explorer, I realized, okay, this is the bundle size, or this is the size of each of the component. I also realized there were third party libraries which we were using. So we were using Lodash and DeepDash. Then I realized that my Lodash actually is responsible for 600 KB, and I was shocked again. I was like, why Lodash is adding 600 KB? Because I'm not using most of the methods, but they are still available inside my application. Similarly, you might have used Moment.js as well. The reason being, this Lodash and Moment.js is common JS modules. So common JS modules are not reshakable. So that was something which I realized, that okay, they're not reshakable. So what should I do is, we should be using the ES module. So Lodash gives you something known as Lodash ES. Similarly, DeepDash had something known as DeepDash ES. So I replaced Lodash with Lodash ES, and from 600 KB, the actual size of Lodash ES came around 6 KB. So you can just see how big the difference is from 600 KB to 6 KB. Similarly, DeepDash was around I think more than 100 KB, which again came around 4 to 5 KB in my final bundle size. So Angular 10 has taken care of this. Now, if you use Angular 10 application, you will see an warning in case you try to use any common JS module. For example, if I try to use Lodash, I'll get a warning that you are trying to use a common JS module. You can actually disable it. Maybe you don't have any other alternative and you have to use common JS dependencies. So you can use inside the build option. Let me just show you where. So inside this build option, you can actually go ahead and use this particular property called allowed common JS dependencies. So I'll mention here allowed common JS dependencies, and then this is an array. So I can specify, okay, I want to use maybe Lodash, right? So you can just pass, okay, I want to use Lodash. So don't give me any warning when if I'm using Lodash. So this is possible in Angular 10. Then, of course, this is something which is applicable for all the application. Whenever you have some huge assets, right? So you have images or something, some videos to serve, try to serve them via CDN. So the advantage is, in case you are using CDN, of course, there will be no network latency, because it will be served from the nearest server possible. For example, if I am accessing your site from India, it will try to serve those resources from India. If I'm trying it from Europe, it will try to give me the data from Europe. It is also high availability. You can see all the CDNs are like, they give you around 99%, more than 99% high availability. But on local, it may fail, right? I mean, if you're serving from assets folder, of course, after some time, it will just maybe if it is really huge, it may just time out. It also gives you better analytics. So from where your users are trying to access your websites, it decreases the server load. So server load is also, I mean, it's not more on your server. It will be like splitted by CDN as well. CDN will take care of all the resources which you have. And then this is something which is applicable for again everyone. A lot of developers, what they do is they still deploy the development mode, their application in development mode, which of course it's not suggested. So always use the production build and use gzip minification, which is if possible, because gzip minification is something which you cannot do in your code, but this functionality is actually provided by some vendors. For example, I always use Netlify. So Netlify gives me that functionality that where it will just zip my application and it will serve it. So let me just show you the statistics from my application once I did all this. So this is something which was there initially. So before I started my optimization. So it was a single module, 8.44 MB of size, and we were serving entire 8.44 MB to our users. Then I did some lazy loaded things. So this is what was after the lazy loaded module. You can see my main bundle is something which we are targeting here. So you can see my main bundle is reduced to 5.69 MB, which is still better than 8 MB, right? But my entire application size is reduced a little bit to 8.68 MB. And this is where I realized that I am doing something wrong, or we are doing something wrong. And the final optimization which we did is this one. So we removed all the shared modules which we spoke about. We did all this SCSS optimization, and we removed Lodash from my application. Now my application size is 6.48 MB. And you can see my main bundle, which is really important, is which is 3.65 MB. Now from earlier where it was 5 point something, 5.7. So you can see I have almost saved 2 MB here. So in my main bundle size. This is the size, and the largest lazy loaded module which we had was 1002 KB, which is around MB. And after all the optimization, it came down to 622 KB. So we actually ended up saving almost, you can see the entire app size was reduced by 2 MB, and my main bundle size was from 8.4 MB to 3.65 MB. But are we serving the entire 6.48 MB to our users? The answer is no. We have actually gzip minification available on our server. So the final bundle or final application size which gets served to the user is around 800 KB, including everything. I'm not talking about the lazy loaded modules. Including everything, the final size is 800 KB, and my main chunk is around 600 KB. So that's what gets served to my end user. So of course they're happy, right? 600 KB is nothing. So this is what I did, and these are some references. I mean, I've added the references to the same blog post which I have written, by using which I ended up optimizing my application. And this is it. So in case you have any questions, or you are struggling with your own application where you have a big bundle size and you want some help or some ideas about it, you can always connect to me on the social media handles. You can connect with me on Twitter. Feel free to send a DM. My DM is always open. Similarly, you can follow me on GitHub in case you have any questions. There are a lot of repositories which are available. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You can send a connection request. I'm sure every one of you have LinkedIn portfolio or LinkedIn profile. Feel free to send me a DM anytime you have some questions. And of course, my portfolio is also available on santosh.dev. So this is it. This is it from the session. I mean, this was all my experiment. So it didn't took a lot of time, but yeah.
Thank you, sir. That was an amazing and inquisitive session. So it was a pleasure having with us you today.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. And the speaker for the next session is Ms. Srashti Jain. She works as a senior developer, and the topic for today's session is Azure Static Web App. What's that? So Ms. Srashti has an all-round 5 years of experience in application development, having a knowledge about .NET, SQL Server, Power BI, Embedded, and Angular. She has also co-organized All About Web and organized many events under Indo Technical Community, and also started a group in Indo for Angular lovers. So welcome you, ma'am.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you so much for such a nice introduction.
Yes,
so yeah, that's all about this. So as you already introduced myself to our audience. So like, okay, so I'll just start, and I do have, so in this session we are gonna talk about like what Azure Static Web App, and you might be wondering like what's that, right? So yeah, we will learn about this only in this session. So right now I know that this session is like would be the last one uh, of this event, and I know that you guys have might learn a lot of things about Angular throughout like these 2 days. You guys has many other sessions, and then you do have that workshops, and right, so you learn a lot. But now there is a chance like you want to deploy your application. You have created your application with a lot of things you have learned, but now you want to deploy, right? So you need some space. So that's what we will learn, like what is the easiest way you can go and try if you want to do like for testing, or like you just want to deploy something. So you can use this one as your static web app, and we will be learning this throughout this session. Okay, so before we start, I would like to go let you guys go through some of my pictures from the events I went through. So I'll just try want to introduce like what I have gone through and how I added I came into this Angular community, right? Okay, so basically, I started my journey to Angular. I started in my day job, and I am we had a project on Angular, so I started learning through that. And when I had some question, I connected in Stack Overflow and on many other people who just try to help others, right? Doing like anyone is facing any difficulty in Angular, they just try to help them. So at that time I feel like, yeah, this is really cool thing, like because we are learning from the community and then we are giving it back to them. So I really got inspired from that. And previously I was also connected as a member as a Microsoft student partner. So yeah, so this thing uh, uh, just like pulled me over there. Okay, so you should do that. So this is how my journey started. I did this NG Nepal, and then we have done a lot of events over there inside our Indore. And then I got opportunity to be there in NG Sri Lanka with a lot of like good speakers. Then this picture is from this year NG India. So yeah, I got this stage, and I got like thanks to everyone who helped me out through like went through this thing. Then somehow when we thought, okay, like we do have a good community over here in Indore, and we should try to like do some workshops and all. So we started this NG Indore in like basically, yeah, in Indore region. And yeah, so this is what our first session looked like, and this was all the strength. Yeah, after that I have like delivered couple of sessions over here in the GDG group. So this picture is from that, like I guess it's from 2019. Yeah, and this one is from like Hishap Corner 2020. Yeah, they have done that like in January. Yeah, so this is from that. And I just want to introduce all of you from this all about web. We have created this amazing community for all the web developers over here. So if you want to because like over here we are gonna talk about everything about web. So maybe the React, maybe Vue, maybe and anything like which is related to web, not only Angular. We will talk about that. We will be going to have many sessions over there. So I would like you guys to just go through these pages. Like on Twitter, you can follow us on It's All About Web. And on LinkedIn also, we do have one page, It's All About Web. So you can just go and check it. It is really cool. We have started that. And also like we have done a lot of work, like a couple of workshop over there, like which was under NG Girls. And which was like we collaborated with them, and this is how it comes out. We got in like India level, we had 160 plus participants and more than 50 mentors over there, and there were, I guess, all around 15 volunteers who help us out doing this online workshop for girls, and it went really well. So I just want to check you guys to check out and like uh, help, like connect with us anyhow. So yeah, so let's go to our topic. So okay, so as we are talking about Azure Static Web App, so let's talk about like what is this, like what is Azure. So Azure is basically a service provided by Microsoft, and how it is helping us is like it is like Azure is helping us as providing everything. If you'll open Azure over here, so it is basically a cloud service. So it will provide you each and everything. Maybe you want a VMware, maybe maybe you want to create a VM machine, right? Virtual machine. Then you want to create a SQL Server instance. Then you want to create a any services or any Azure function. So you can just go and create it, and like then it will be built accordingly how you have used it. Yeah, so these all things are available. There are a lot of many things which are available over there in this Azure. So I would recommend you, if you are new to this Azure, just try to go through this Azure portal, which is portal.azure.com. So it will be like you can log in with your credentials over here, like Microsoft credential you will be needed, and then you will be over here in this portal. So from here, what you can do is you can go and search for resources, all resources. Let's say you want to create some resource. What resource you want to create? If you want to create AI, like machine learning thing, or blockchain, or anything, any container databases, anything, you can go and create it from here. So really like this platform. It is really like for the first time, maybe you might get confused because there are a lot of many options over here. But once you like go through this, it is really cool and easy to understand. And like what I really like is, whenever you want to create anything, okay, I just want to create a database, okay, I'll just click, do one or two click, I'll go and write the name of that, select the particular services which I want to use. I'll select maybe particular the pricing and all, and then yeah, I'll say just okay, and everything will be taken care by this particular Azure. So yeah, so I don't have to like take care like where it should work, or maybe the all the firewall settings and all, it is like taking care. So I really like this thing. So if you are new to Azure, just I would recommend just try to go through that. And yeah, if anytime you feel face any issue, you can connect with me. That's not a problem. Okay, so we will try to understand now what is basically uh, our what is basically this static web app, right? So static web app, what is that? So uh, so so what we want to do is we have created one application over here. If you'll see, let me open that. So I have created one application in Angular. So just to create an application, you have to give this command. So I have already given that. So it says ng new Angular day. So I have created one application which named Angular day, right? And now I want to open that. So I'll just do cd Angular day. Okay, so it will let me go into that directory, and I'll open it in a Visual Studio Code. Yes, so over here, yeah, so I think, yeah, you would be able to see this particular application, Angular application over here. And let's say like we will try to run this application in our local server. So if you have gone through those like particular workshop for Angular, so I know like if you want to serve anything, what command you have to use. So it is ng serve. So we'll do that. It might take some time because it is like running for the first time. It might take some time. So basically, static web app is giving us a platform where we can deploy our static applications. Static as in like like Angular, like React or any Vue or any JavaScript related application. Like in vanilla JavaScript, we can go and deploy those applications over there, right? Where we don't need any kind of dependency, like if you have any website in .NET, right? And then you have to deploy, so you need those dependency in the background, and then those dependency should be take care, like because you will just put your DLLs and all, but all other things should be like the platform will be provided to you. But over here for running these application on browser, you don't need anything like from our server, right? So that's how, so we can deploy these application over there in static web apps. So let's say while it is running, what I'll do is I'll create a GitHub repository. Let me show you. Okay, so this is my GitHub. I'll create a new repository. I would name it Angular Day. Okay, and I'm making it a public repository, and I will keep it blank with nothing inside that. Okay, so it is created. Yep, I'll go over here. It over here, it is saying like it is running, right? So I'll just go and run my application. So I'm just running it from this debugger. It is really cool debugger. So if you are new with Angular or any front end, so like you might have want to install this particular debugging tool. It is really easy and make it really easy to debug our front end applications. So I just ran that and it just opened this one. So this is a like scaffold application which Angular gave us. So over here, if you'll see, so this is what is written over here in our app component. I'm sorry. So if you'll say, it says this is our app component, yes, and it is giving a title Angular days. And if I'll say okay, change it to hello Angular, okay, and I'm saving it. And if I'll go over here, it will just refresh this because we have that debugger like running behind, so it just change it to Angular, hello Angular, right? So this is how our this title is, it might have bind over there in our HTML template. That's how it got changed, right? So this is a basic change I have done. So just want to show you. So what I'll do is I'll go on this repository. I just want to push this particular repository over here. uh, okay, so I'll open this terminal. I'll say I'm adding the repository, and then I'll just copy this command, paste it over here. So basically, it is pushing this repository to my um, like the repository. Let me just change my Git credentials, because like I was using other credentials over here. I'll do it in a few. Wait a minute. I hope it will run now. Yep. So it just pushed it, right? So we will just go over here in our GitHub and check. Yeah. So whatever change we have done, right? It is over here. Now we'll see in the repository. There are few changes which are not pushed. So we haven't pushed this, right? So I'll just create a. I'll just push it now. So launch. Okay, and I just pushed it. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, so right now it is over here in your repository, right? But what if you want to deploy that? So you will have to create some, like have some particular service where like subscription where you can deploy. So you can create it from here, from Azure portal. So what you want? Like we want a static web app, right? So we'll search it for search here for that. So right now, it is a disclaimer that that static web app right now is in a preview version, right? So you might have to what I'll say. You might don't want to add this particular stream. Like you don't have to deploy your production application on static web app right now. I guess it will be soon there in like uh, production and not a preview version, and then you might can use that for your production level application, just to make sure it doesn't like fail anytime. So just avoid it. For testing application you can use and yeah, like go and use it. That's not a problem. Well, so in Azure, I do have this subscription, so I'm selecting this subscription, and after that, I say, okay, I want to select a resource group. So resource group is basically a folder, you will say, and you can create multiple resource group according to your uses. Let's say I have one application, like let's say this application, and this application might have a SQL server connected with it, so I will add those both of them over there in a particular same resource group, so that like whenever I want to check, I'll go to that particular resource group and I'll know, okay, these particular apps we are using for this application. Like if anytime I want to delete it or any management I have to do, so I can do it from there. So right now I'm adding it in my resource group folder, and you maybe if you want to create new, you can create new from here, this one. Okay, you just have to give name. It will like create after these steps. So it is asking for name. So I'll say Angular day, Angular day. Okay, it says yeah, it is available. Then we have to select a region where we have to deploy our application. So right now these 4 or 5 regions are available, but if you'll open like for other things, it is in Azure there are a lot many regions which are available. So I guess whenever the like main version of this static web will come out, they will have more. Uh, regions available over here. So yeah, and one really nice thing that static web app is available for free right now. So you just have to go and like create that, and your application will be running over there freely. You don't have to pay anything. Yeah. So what we are doing, it says okay, like it want a source account. So when I just click on that, so what it did is authenticated my GitHub account. So why my account is like selected automatically, because I have authenticated it previously. But if you'll do it for the first time, it will ask like pop up a permission box, then you will have to say yeah, okay, and then it will work like that. So yeah, from here you have to select these organizations. I'll say okay, this one. So over here under this name, there will be some repositories. So we want this Angular day, right? And then I'll select master branch. So you can select some branches over here. I'll say okay, next. From here it says API location, app location. So in app location, we can like keep it as is. Then API location. So right now we don't have any API, so we can remove it. And it is saying app artifact location. So where will be whenever you will build your application, where will be all your artifacts. So let's say like you might have know that if you build your application, how where it will be, but so we'll do a command ng build, and then we have to use this for production settings. So you will have to use this production flag. So let's say like what happened. So over here in our Angular JSON file, right? Over here we have set this. So our output path will be dest slash Angular day, right? So if you'll see whenever this build command is done, na, so the dash part will be that folder will be created over here. So right now while it is building, I'll just put this particular path over here, and I'll do next. And like yeah, these tags you can add, but it is not really required. It is for a certain purpose only for you. So over here you can check the things. Okay, I have added this, so everything is looks fine. I'll say okay, create. So right now it is creating this. Yeah, so just that's what I was saying. I just gave the name, whatever I want, and it is creating everything in a backend. I don't have to look into like uh, what like settings are there and all other things when like if you'll do it from like from basic, right? So you will have to buy it from somewhere or something. So those things you don't have to do. Whatever you want, you can come and you can create by yourself. So it is really easy. So what it just said is it said Angular days. Yeah, it is created, and now it is saying thank you for using Azure Static Web App. We have not received any content of your website, right? So click here. Yeah. So if you'll see, we are seeing it is saying this is the particular web page we will see, right? If we'll browse it. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'll just click on this. I'll check. So right now it is saying that there is one CI/CD process is like running, GitHub action is running, and whenever it will be built successfully, it will be showing our this code over here in this application whenever this thing will be done. Okay, so let's try and wait for it. Yep, it is taking some time. So uh, it would take a few seconds more, I guess, not more than that. So there are few steps which it will take care. Yep, I guess it is almost done. So yeah, this is how like that CI/CD works. It has a particular steps which it try to complete, and yeah. Yep. As you can see, yeah, it is done. If we'll try to refresh this application, yeah, so it shows us that. Yeah, so our this local application is deployed over here. And let's try to change something. Um, let's say I'll say hello Angular. Mm, I'm saying all about web. Okay, let's. I'm trying to change something stuff. So if I'll come over here and add it, I'm just pushing these changes over there on our GitHub repository. So change one, right? And I'll push it. And if I'll go over here and what's that? Yeah. In this CICD, it should have triggered a new one. Let's see if it is. Yeah, let's see. This is the new one they have. Like right now they have pushed. Right. So from where it is coming over here, if we'll see when we added this to our static web app, so here is our GitHub flow, and inside that there is one YAML file. From here, it is watching this is the all the code in YAML file it is written, which is taking care of this particular GitHub action, and then this GitHub action is triggered whenever we do like push anything. So it is building. Yeah, it took some time. It has some warnings. I hope it will be built. There's no issue as such. So this is the same thing which was happening over here when we build our application over here, right? In the local, it was the same thing which was happening. Yeah, let's wait for it. And yeah, okay, so it is copying file to our particular like space where our application is deployed. And I hope it will be done in a few. So yeah, like you just right now we are looking into it, but you don't have to look into it every time. It will be done like in like five minutes, not more than that. After you push any changes, and over here if you'll see, like it is like that right now. It will refresh. It should change the content. Over here, if you see, it just changes it, right? So yeah, this is how like this Azure static web app is making it really easy for us. Like how you can go and get start with this Azure web apps, right? Okay, so I would say like uh, that's all from my side for this session, and I think like you can ask like if anyone of you have any question, you can ask. So also like this is my Twitter handle and this is my GitHub and the same will be my LinkedIn. So if you guys want to connect with me anytime in future for any query related this or any other thing, like yeah, just feel free to ask me. So yeah, that's all.
Hello, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
That was an amazing session. And for the audience, we have events lined up every week from these organizations. So you can stay tuned and get info on these events in these links. And all the links are put up in the description box, so do check them out. And again, thanks for the great event, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you guys. Like you guys did a great job. I was like seeing through your channels, like you were posting all the posters and all those things. So that thing was amazing. So like I just want to say like I just want to clap for you all. Like it
Thank
it
you.
it was really a great event and
Yeah.
nicely managed everything.
And also, ma'am, like this video will be watched later. So if you could spare some time to answer the queries later, posted in below the video, so it would be of great help.
Yeah, yeah, no issues. I'll be like looking into it in future too. So if there will be any question, I will be available. No issues.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Thank you. And also for the
Okay.
audience, thank you for being a part of this event and spending your Sunday afternoon learning with us. And we hope to see you in the next event. So until then, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.